Now let's go to Heat 3A, where the Garrett Turbo U7 will compete with Jerry Hopp at the wheel. Chip Hanauer in the Miss Circus will go head-to-head with Mr. Pringles, George Woods Jr. in the cockpit, and Miss Budweiser with Tommy Deeth driving.
On the course here at Onondaga Lake in New York State, Syracuse, New York, to be exact. In lane number 1, the Miss Budweiser. Lane 2, Circus. Lane 3, the Garrett Turbo. Lane 4, Jif presents Mr. Pringles. There's the start of the race. Right off the bat, it's going to be the Miss Budweiser locking horns with the Jif presents Mr. Pringles on the far outside, and between the two of them, it's the pink lady, the Miss Circus, Chip Hanauer. So far, in command, it is Tom Deeth in the Miss Budweiser, but watch out, Circus is right on the tail in the midst of all that water that you see thrown off the back end of the Miss Budweiser.
Anytime these two boats, the boat you're looking at right now, Miss Budweiser with Tommy Deeth, and the second place boat, the Miss Circus, as Tommy gets a little wild ride coming off of exit pin at corner number 4. Anytime these two boats get together, it's almost like a final heat, and this is the first time in preliminary action that they have met today, and the speed of this first heat is going to prove it.
And certainly the Jif presents Mr. Pringles is not out of it on the far left side of your screen. You can see the difference between third and first, 140.784 miles per hour. That's really a fast lap on a course that's roughed up.
Didn't I tell you? Once these two boats get together, these two guys, Tommy Deeth and Chip Hanauer, will push each other every race all year long.
Well, both of them have wins out here today, so we'll see if any strategy is played out. Miss Circus on your screen with Chip Hanauer. He tends to play a little game out there now and then. If, in fact, in a preliminary heat, the Miss Budweiser gets a lead, more times than not, Chip will back it off a little bit and not challenge. There you can see the Miss Budweiser as she laps one of the slower boats, the Garrett Turbo boat, and now has a clean field ahead.
138.699 mile an hour. Lap number 2 slowed down a little bit for Tommy Deeth and the Miss Budweiser with one more lap to go, and Heat 3A will be history. And these two boats will be seeing action for the final time before the final. Here's your third place boat, Mr. Pringles, George Woods Jr.
These boats just settling down now because they don't want to rip up this equipment. They've got the championship heat yet to go today, and there's no sense tearing it up. They've already seen some damage to the Winston Eagle, and they don't want a chance their boats being in the same position on the trailer being repaired. Some repairs can't be made. We're still waiting to find out if indeed Jim Cropfield will be back on the course in his boat. Now the Miss Budweiser, the red and white boat owned by Bernie Little out of Lakeland, Florida, comes across the line again, and Circus still in pursuit, however not charging hard, seemingly satisfied with the distance back to second place, and that's exactly where they'll finish the race. Miss Budweiser takes the win. Second place goes to Chip Hanauer in the Miss Circus, and third place will go to Jif presents Mr. Pringles as Tommy Deeth brings the power off a little bit, takes sort of a victory lap here on Onondaga Lake. Second place again, Chip Hanauer in the Miss Circus. Third place, Jif presents Mr. Pringles. Garrett Turbo rounds the field.
All right, now it's on to the final. Any strategy coming up that you didn't do this time against Circus?
Just try and beat the Circus. The water was a little bit better this time, but it was still pretty rough. Hopefully, by the final, it'll smooth out a little bit.
You know, I was thinking, Bernie, a little, these drivers are driving hard, even in the elimination heats, but then again, National High Points is up for grabs. You just increased your lead by 100 points.
Yes, we did, Jim, and Tommy's doing a great job out there. You can see the water, and it's rough for everybody, but we're here to win, and that's what we're going for.
And one of the boats in competition will be the Winston Eagle in the next heat. Look at the repair job they have done on the right sponson of that boat. It looks brand new. How will it run? We'll find out when we continue with more action from Syracuse, New York in the HFC Hydroplane Series. Syracuse, New York. Dick Ribbon along with Jim Hendrick as we look at the pit area now. The boat's getting ready for Heat 3B. And this should be interesting because Jimmy Cropfield, who has sore ribs from a car accident, will be driving a boat that was just repaired in the pits. The right sponson had the lower part of it taken off. They have repaired it, and now the Winston Eagle gets set to join the Hulsett Miss Madison and the rest of the boats out on the course for the start of Heat 3B.
And as Jim Cropfield takes his repaired boat on the course, he'll have competition from Mitch Evans in the Cooper's Express, Mark Tate in Oh Boy, Oberto, Mike Hansen in the whole set Miss Madison.
On the course now, the boats are forming up for the start. Remember, they want to have the boat going at full speed as the final second on the clock ticks off to signify the start of Heat 3B. Lane number 3, that's the Winston Eagle. Jim Kropfeld on the start is going to take control, but he's got competition on the outside. Mike Hansen in the Holset Miss Madison wants to get a share of the Winston Eagle and first place. Will he do it? Right now, Winston Eagle is in control. He goes down the back stretch. He's going to have to watch that water very carefully. We're getting reports the wind is forming some white caps down in turns 3 and 4.
As we look at Cooper's Express, currently riding in third place, Mitch Evans at the wheel.
Cooper's Express has had a very consistent day out here. If he gets enough points, he just may make it into the championship heat. Meanwhile, Jim Kropfeld, and every bounce of that boat, you've got to know it, it's hurting to a point. He got sore ribs in that car accident last night. They weren't broken, but they certainly are sore from an impact off of the console of the car. So you know he's got to be hurting. Meanwhile, he also knows they have repaired the one sponson on his boat. He has tremendous faith in his crew, obviously, because he's keeping his speed right up there to hold on to first place. Second place, Holset Miss Madison. Third place, Cooper's Express.
This boat is 5,500 pounds. It's 29 foot long, 13 foot wide. Jim Lucero, the team manager and crew chief, built and designed this hull.
Jim Kropfeld, the top driver, as we say, starting the season. He had 22 wins in 54 races, about 40% average, which is extremely good. Mike Hansen has had a very, very good day here in Syracuse, New York so far. He's riding in second place to the Winston Eagle.
And had a pretty good weekend, winning the shootout for the piston-powered boats yesterday and $10,000 prize money.
He certainly can use it with that boat. They're hoping, of course, as we have stated in other shows, that they will pick up a sponsor that will put a turbine in the Holset Miss Madison. It is a boat built for the turbine, but at this time they are running with a piston engine. We continue to look further back in the field, and there you can see coming through the mist the Oh Boy Oberto, Mark Tate. He is riding in fourth position back there. They've had a heating problem with that turbine engine this weekend. They cut out the top of the cowling to try to get more air in there. Still first place, Jim Kropfeld in the Winston Eagle.
Now, if he can finish here, Dick, and pick up 400 points, he might ease into the final field even though he missed a start because of the damage to the sponson. He could become the provisional starter.
There are a couple of people on the shoreline that are watching very closely right now that aren't participating in this heat, just to see exactly what the Winston Eagle will do. And with 400 points, he's going to be hard to beat as far as getting into that final field. Winston Eagle coming around for the final time in this 3-lap sprint race to qualify. He's got his fingers crossed that this will give him enough to qualify for the championship heat. Second place still is Mike Hansen in the Holset Miss Madison. Coming across the line, there's the checkered flag. Heat 3B goes to the U-10. Steve Woomer's Winston Eagle, Jim Kropfeld the driver. Second place, Mike Hansen in the Holset Miss Madison. And third place will be the Cooper's Express, Mitch Evans. There's Steve Woomer and the crew, very happy down in the pit area. There's your final show with Oh Boy Oberto showing fourth.
Jim, there were a couple times today you guys were wondering if you were even going racing.
Well, we had our problems, that's for sure. You know, I got my ribs injured, and then went on the first heat, and the water was so rough we tore off the bottom of the sponson and ripped it up. But you know, the Winston Eagle guys went to work. We missed the heat because of it, but we got it back together, and we went out, and we had to win this heat to be assured of a spot in the final, a payoff spot anyway. We didn't want to be the provisional starter, and we had to win it, and we did it, so it worked out great.
Steve, I'll tell you, this crew deserves a tremendous amount of credit. The repair job on that boat, if you didn't know boat racing, you probably wouldn't even know where they repaired it.
Well, that's true, but I had no doubt in the Winston Eagle crew. They're dynamite, and when it came out of the water, I knew they'd get it fixed before the final today, and with all the gumption Mr. Kropfeld here has after getting in a wreck last night, I mean, it's got to turn around for us here.
The final field is set. The run for the money in the Pringles Family Thunderboat Classic, and we'll have it all for you in Onondaga Lake, Syracuse, New York, in just a moment. The The boats are warming up here in Onondaga Lake, Syracuse, New York. I'm Jim Hendrick along with Dick Crippen. We are under the 5-minute gun heading for the 1. This is a place where they warm up, do a lot of milling. Some of the strategy takes place. Let's review the day's action. For Miss Budweiser, it's been a perfect day. She has won 3 straight heats and has 1,200 points. Mr. Pringles has taken second twice and won 3rd place finish, being consistent for George Woods Jr. The Circus has won 2 heats, finished second to the Budweiser the other time out. The Winston Eagle did not start because of damage to the boat, placed 4th in 1 heat and won the last heat we have just seen here on ESPN.
So here's the lineup for the final championship heat. Miss Budweiser, Tom Deeth, the driver. Miss Circus, driven by Chip Hanauer. U8, Mr. Pringles, George Woods Jr. Hulsett, Miss Madison, Mike Hansen, the driver. Cooper's Express, Mitch Evans. The rookie driver, Mark Tate, aboard the Oh Boy Oberto. And the provisional starter, Jim Kropfeld, in the Winston Eagle. They're in the milling area right now, Jim. They are forming up on the back stretch. This is the time we start the clock 5 minutes before the start of the race. They then count down 4 minutes. In the final minute, they start forming up at the far end of the course. They will try to have the nose of the boats on the starting line as the final second ticks off. It is a flying start. It is a time to start. If they are too early, they're penalized a lap for jumping the gun. If they are too late, they penalize themselves because they're going to be back in those rooster tails and wakes. It's going to be rough to change position, and they must hold the lane.
We're getting the word now from the URC Unlimited Racing Commission officials that the Miss Circus has had 2 million infractions. And one was a $300 penalty, and we're understanding right now they're considering a second infraction, which may penalize Circus 1 lap. We'll have to wait and see for the final word.
As they come up to the start line now, it is going to be Circus in lane 1. The Miss Budweiser, lane 2. Chip presents Mr. Pringles, lane 3. Cooper's Express, lane 4. Hulsett, Miss Madison, far to the outside, the left of your screen. That's Mike Hansen, and he loves that outside groove. There's the flag pulled in. The clock has ticked off the final second. By the way, as the boats take the start, they're moving into a portion of the course where in the background you're going to see some dark clouds. They are now threatening. The wind has picked up just a little bit. So has the speed of the Miss Circus. Wait a minute, on the outside, it's the Miss Budweiser. Tom Deeth is challenging Chip Hanauer for the lead as they take it onto the backstretch.
They're coming down that back chute. It's Miss Budweiser by about 1.5 lengths as he's in lane number 2. But here comes Circus on the inside as Chip Hanauer pulls even and then ahead. Now we're getting the word. We're getting the word on our URC radio. There is a 1-lap penalty to the Circus for a pre-race infraction, changing lanes. That must mean that perhaps the Miss Budweiser driver, Tom Deeth, has been notified of that by his crew in the helmet, and he's kind of backed off.
It appears that he has slowed down just a little bit, and it's possible that he has been radioed to ease up on the boat a little bit. They don't want to risk any danger to the boat. Meanwhile, Chip Hanauer keeps it full pedal to the metal as he goes back into the hard turns here on Onondaga Lake in Syracuse, New York. Chip Hanauer in control as the boats run, but reportedly he has got to lap the field to make up a lap and take first place. So he's got a long way to go ahead of him. Right now, it is the Miss Budweiser officially in first place.
138.770 for Circus on that lap number 1, but again, it might not be official because of the lap penalty. And look at those dark clouds. You're right. We've got rain coming.
Pringles now. The Jeff presents Mr. Pringles riding back in second place. Third is the Oh Boy Oberto, Mark Tate. That's the official standing. As you see it on the screen, the pink lady still in the lead. Chip Hanauer is first as they run only. Officially, he has a lap to make up.
We've had 4 races. In 1990, this boat, Miss Budweiser, has won at Detroit and Evansville. And this one, the Circus has captured the Miami and Madison affairs.
Well, it's going to be a long way to go for Chip Hanauer to capture this one. He is a lap down on the lead boat, which is the Miss Budweiser, Tom Deeth. So Chip Hanauer wanted the rough water. That's exactly what he got. He didn't mind the windy conditions, he said, and he got those. As a matter of fact, the weather continues on the decline here as the water continues to roughen up. But Chip, unfortunately, was penalized a lap for a pre-race violation in the milling area. They watch everything out on these courses, so everybody has to lock into their lane and such. Everybody has to give each other a good equal chance at getting a good start on the course. So whatever the infraction was for, he is down a lap on the leader. Right now, the lead, of course, Miss Budweiser, Tom Deeth. Following him in second place is the Pringles. Jif presents Mr. Pringles. And in third place would be the Old Boy Oberto, followed by the Holset Miss Madison. Whoa, a high wave to the crowd, unintentional, I'm sure, by Tom Deeth, but it gives you an indication of how the course is getting tough. And remember, these guys aren't driving on asphalt. It's not smooth out there. They've got to watch for every wave.
Now, usually, all day we've run 3-lap sprint qualifying laps. This one is a 5-lapper. 5 laps to the checker flag with the winner take all.
All of the crews very confident in what they have done for their boats. A lot of it now left up to the driver. There's some information that is going back and forth between the pits and the drivers. There's the Old Boy Alberto. That's a boat where they tried the turbine engine in Evansville. They couldn't get it to work, so they took it back out and went back to the piston. Then they put it in Madison, and it's in again today. And so they're still working all the bugs out on that. Holset Miss Madison now riding up into third position. Mike Hansen has moved up in the field to third place. He'll try to hold on to that for the finish. He's got a ways to go, though. Mike Hansen having a very, very good day. One of the best days he has had in unlimited racing so far this year. Chip Hanauer in the Circus still trying to make up the lap on the field.
We're on the final lap, the 5th lap for Miss Budweiser. This boat, the Circus, will get the green flag with 1 more lap to go because of the penalty, and the Miss Budweiser will come around to take the checker flag. Here's Tommy Deeth coming off of corner number 4, and he doesn't look like he's giving up, either does Chip Hanauer.
Tom, he might want to just make sure that he's in there. I think there was a little mix-up on the flag, and he may not be clear exactly what flag was meant for him. But at any rate, Tommy Deeth has won here in Syracuse, New York, but he's going to take another lap just to be on the safe side. He hasn't gotten off it at all. Meanwhile, second place will go to Jif presents Mr. Pringles, the host boat here in Syracuse, New York. George Woods Jr., the driver. Circus continues at full bore on the course because he had that lap to make up from the penalty earlier. Whoa! Mike Hansen giving a victory wave to the crowd, but I'm not sure that was intentional. He gets third place for the Holset Miss Madison. Circus now rounding it for the final time. The checkered flag is out, and that's the only flag out at this point. The green flag was out for the Circus earlier, and I think that may have been where the confusion came in. But right now, Circus is getting a solo checker to indicate he has completed his penalty lap and finished the field.
And here comes with an extra lap, 6th lap he did not have to take. This boat finishes second. He goes dead on the extra lap that does not count.
So George Woods Jr. finished second. No matter what, he'll get a tow back in, and we'll see if he celebrates. We'll be back to talk with the winners from Syracuse, New York in just a moment.
Jim Hendrick along with Dick Crippen back here at Syracuse, New York, Onondaga Lake. Here's the final results of race number 5 of 1990. Miss Budweiser the winner, followed by the rest of the field. Now let's go down to Dick Crippen at the winner's circle. He's there to talk to winning driver Tommy Deeth. Dick?
Thank you very much, Jim. And as we come to this winning dock one more time this year, and I got to tell you, you had to fight for that one against the weather and the elements.
Oh, yeah, it's been a tough one all day long with rain showers and wind, but we're glad 3 times in a row in Syracuse. Boy, what a feeling for Budweiser, right?
Well, I'll tell you, there's not any happier guy than Bernie Little standing right here now. And Bernie, this is a great accomplishment for this crew, especially considering you had damage on the boat coming in.
Yes, we did. They worked around the clock, and it seems like every time they do that, we win. And I think Ronnie Brown and our crew, they're just unreal. They put us out there, and we knew he jumped the gun when they, or not jumped the gun, we knew they had an infraction. They called it. So we called Tom and told him just to let him go, but he said, I didn't want to do that. I want to show him that I could run with him.